Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. We will complete chapter 16. Last week, my computer died, so we couldn't finish chapter 16. We have 4 more verses left, and then we will start chapter 17. And in the middle, we'll stop recording and start again. So please don't leave. That's only for the purpose of separating the videos for the recording. So we completed till 16th chapter, 20th verse. And we will start with 21st verse. So chapter 16 has 24 verses. Last 4 verses are extremely important. They kind of summarize the essence of the whole chapter. The chapter started with description of divine qualities and but went into detail of demoniac qualities. So that's how the chapter began. And then in the last 4 verses, Sri Krishna will summarize what are the main demoniac qualities and how to know which qualities to develop to get into the divine qualities through Shastra. So these points will be explained. So we will explore these. But before that, let us chant Mangalacharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Okay. So as we said, we will start from verse number 21. Last 4 verses. The next 2 verses among the last 4, the first 2, which is 21 and 22, are describing the summary or the main cause of the fall down of a person into hellish condition or hellish nature. So, verse number 21. Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanamatmanah kamah krodhas tatha lobhas tasmad etad trayam tyajet. So, Trividham narakah syedam dvaram. One second. Okay. So, there are Trividham, three ways of naraka syedam dvaram. So narakasya of narka. Narka had been used in a previous verse, number 16, I believe. Yeah, naraka patanti narake ashuchau. In the 16th verse, last line, naraka was used. So in the demons, the demoniac people with demoniac qualities fall into this condition called narka, whether it is actual hellish planets, the lower planets, or even in the earthly planet, narka or hellish conditions. We see many people, some human beings may be in hellish conditions, many other living entities may be in hellish conditions, or conditions where the magnitude of suffering is much, much, much higher than the magnitude of pleasure. So, dvaram nashanam atmanaha. So, and these are the three things: kamaha, krodha, tatha, lobha. So three things: kama, krodha, and lobha. Tasmad etad trayam tyajet. Tyaja means to give up. Like it is there, the sarva dharman pari tyajya. Tyajya means give up. So one must therefore give up these three gates of hell. So what is the point here? The point is that dwaram nashanam atmanaha. One harms or destroys atmanaha means his own self. So one may think that by krodha, by being angry on someone, or by I'll get what I want, or I will oppress the other person. Kama and lobha, I will get something beneficial for myself. Neither by oppressing or harming the other person, or neither by getting so-called beneficial things for one's own self does one rise. So one does not rise by kama, krodha, and lobha. One only falls down. Nashanam atmanaha. It's a path of self-destruction. And then the next verse is Etair vimuktah kaunteya tamo dvaraistribhir naraha acharayatyaatmanah shreyas tato yati param gatim. So therefore, in the man who has escaped these three gates of hell, vimuktah kaunteya, tamo dvarai tribhir naraha. So these three are called as the dwara of tamas. So it leads to downfall. So from sattva to rajas to tamas. So these are the gates to tamas. Tamo dvarai tribhir naraha. These three are the gates to tamo guna. And therefore, that the one who gives it up, tyajet, or vimuktaha, acharati atmanaha shreyas. He benefits his own self. Atmanaha shreya. Shreya means for his benefit or for his own upliftment. Tato yati param gatim. And he goes towards the highest destination, which is the spiritual destination. So he goes towards that. So again, it is very clear. The point of this is two aspects here. Please listen carefully. One is that wherever one is in sattva, rajas, and tamas, the idea is to go towards sattva. If you are in tamas, go towards rajas and towards sattva. If you are in rajas, go towards sattva. That is one point. And it does not mean that sattva is param gatim. From there, towards the end of the chapter 17, we will see how to go towards the spiritual destination, param gatim. It was also discussed in the end of the 14th chapter, guna atita. In the 15th chapter, it was all about that as well. And here also in the 16th chapter, tato yanti param gatim. So going towards the spiritual or the highest destination, which is the spiritual destination. So just by giving up kama, krodha, and lobha, one does not go to the spiritual destination, but one goes towards it. One comes closer to it because one goes to sattva guna. So that point needs to be understood very carefully. So one who avoids the three gates and performs acts for his real benefit. Real means long-term benefit, not short-term benefit. Kama, krodha, and lobha can lead to short-term benefit, short-term happiness, but not long-term happiness. And it only benefits the body and the senses. It absolutely does not benefit the soul. So, by going towards sattva guna, by avoiding kama, krodha, lobha, one goes towards the highest destination, which is the spiritual destination. So, the point is that in the 16th chapter, from 16.10 to 16.20, a very vivid and detailed description was given of demoniac qualities. Now, for us, it is not possible to remember all the aspects. What is a demoniac quality? How should we, in moment to moment, when we are making small or big decisions, somebody says something to us, we get angry, or in some moment we see an opportunity for lobha, for greed, to get something at the cost of someone else, or whatever it is. In that moment to moment, it is not possible to kind of remember the whole gamut of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Sri Krishna has given us three very simple things that we can remember. All demoniac qualities start from here: kama, krodha, lobha. So in every moment, if we can avoid kama, krodha, lobha, which is desires, anger, and greed, then these are the keywords we need to remember to go towards sattva. So Krishna is giving us three very important keywords that we should remember to avoid, these qualities to avoid, to go towards sattva guna. So that is the intent. This is a chart or something, whatever you can call it, a flow chart. We had discussed in 4th chapter. As you can see, there is this Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha was discussed in 4.10. Very similar, but here, so there are these 4 terms, Raga or Kama. There is slight difference, but more or less they are similar. What happened? And then from these come Bhaya, Lobha, and Krodha. So among the 3, Bhaya, Lobha, and Krodha, Bhaya is more natural. It is more, to some extent, it is not something that you manifest. It is more easily controlled. However, it is less controlled. It is just the state of fear. By calming the mind, Bhaya can also be controlled. It's not that it is not controllable, but much more Lobha and Krodha are controllable, much more than Bhaya. So that is why Shri Krishna is singling out these 3 and has left out the 4th one, Bhaya, because it is less serious and little bit less in our control. For those reasons, Bhaya is not included here. So from Kama comes Lobha. Kama means lust or desires. I want this, I want this. It's all about wants. And when wants are fulfilled, you want more, you want more, you want more. There is no end to wanting more. So that is Lobha. So Kama is there, Lobha is there, and it is a cycle. Lobha, kama, lobha, kama, lobha, kama. It feeds the other. It's like feeding gasoline, or you can say ghee, to the fire. You give it more ghee, the fire will blaze more, and it will ask or demand more gasoline to blaze further. And then krodha, if you don't get what you want, or if there are some impediments, or somebody took away something that you got, all those things lead to krodha and a stronger form of kama. Now I will get it by even more unscrupulous means. Just like Ravana, first he wanted um, um, to gain control over all the kingdom. So he did all the tapasya and everything. Then, he said, okay, in that case, he got it. So that was the case of lobha and so on. In case of krodha, when he had kidnapped Mother Sita, first he was deploying certain means to please her. Marry me, I am such a great king. His krodha would keep increasing because he was not getting. And finally, his um, treacheries and his oppression and his um, aggression on Mother Sita kept more and more and more increasing. Finally, Mother Sita at one time decided, if Sri Ram doesn't come by this time, I will give up my life, because his atrocities were increasing. So the krodha was increasing and increasing and increasing because he was not getting what he wanted. And he thought by increasing the krodha, he will get it. So we also see this in our life as well. Now, some people quit after some time because they cannot go beyond a certain level. But for the more you can go beyond, you keep going, you keep going. It's up to the one's capacity that one keeps going. So, what is the solution to this? How to control kama, krodha, and lobha? And when having the kama, or having lobha for more kama, or krodha for the same kama, whether you get it or you don't get it, how to in that moment decide or choose, is this something beneficial for me? Is this kama, is this hankering, is this lust really beneficial for me? To pause and think and utilize the intelligence that we have, then that helps us to control the kama, krodha, and lobha. And how is that intelligence built? That intelligence is built through scriptures. That is why Sri Krishna then in the next two verses highlights the importance of scriptures. So last two verses, 16.23 and 24, are extremely important verses where Krishna tells how to know what to avoid and what to adopt. And for that, scriptures are the fundamental basis. So scriptures, various kinds of scriptures. In the end, I have listed Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Bhagavatam, etc. Srimad Bhagavatam being the primary one, where we refine our intelligence. So what do the scriptures do? They refine our intelligence, the theoretical part. And then the scriptures also inspire our heart. They inspire us, they tell us that there is a higher taste. There is a more go for the long-term happiness, for the real eternal happiness, the happiness that is many, many times sweeter than the temporary short-term and happiness that is actually harming us. So the scriptures tell us all these things, and these two verses are highlighting the importance of scriptures. So 23rd verse is saying, Yah shastra vidhim utsrijya vartate kamakaratah na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. So in the previous verse, it was mentioned that yati tato yati param gatim. So one goes towards the highest destination. And here it is also being shown that those who avoid the scriptures or reject the scriptures, they can never go to the Param Gatim. Yah Shastra Vidhim Utsrijya. Utsrijya means to give up. So those who have given up Shastra Vidhi. Vidhi means the path or the teachings, the procedures, the learnings of the Shastra that have been given. Those who reject it, Vartate Kama Karataha. And by giving up all those teachings, they do Kama Karataha. Kama Karataha means they act, or their actions are based on Kama. I want this, without applying Shastra. If Shastra tells this is not good for you, you don't even know, or even if one knows, one rejects. And the rejection could be on various reasons. I don't believe in the Shastra, or one prioritizes one's own desires on over and above what the Shastra tells. My desires are more important to me than what the Shastra says. And one anyway performs those actions. Kama karataha. Na sa siddhim avapnoti. He doesn't go to the higher destination. Siddhi means higher destination or perfection. Avapnoti means attain. Na sukham. He does not get any happiness. Maybe he will get some short-term happiness, but no long-term happiness. Na param gatim. And definitely not the highest destination. So the translation is, he who discards, utsrijya, discards scriptural injunctions, shastra vidhim, and acts according to his own whims, vartate kama karataha, attains neither perfection, na sa siddhim avapnoti, nor happiness, na sukham, nor the supreme destination, na param gatim. So Shastra is the fundamental basis. And in Shastra, what happens is, it's the primary source of what is right and what is wrong. Now, what is right, what is wrong, one may think that it is fairly easy. Yes, in some cases, it is very easy to maybe tell a lie is wrong, to tell the truth is right. Or to kill someone is wrong, and to protect someone is right. But in some cases, it becomes very complex, and life is not easy. Life is full of complex situations. So many times it's not as black and white, and we are faced with complex tiebreaker situations, gray situations. So, sometimes we say, no, yeah, it's in the gray area, which means it's not very clear. And Shastra very clearly tells what is right, what is wrong. It is the final word. And therefore, one must know Shastra. One who really, now one can say, I have learned, done some courses on how to live life, or I am a lawyer, I know all the law of the land. That is all good. But the real the final word on what is right and what is wrong for our long-term success. All these other things are at material level. They come to an end when our body comes to an end. Shastra tells what is good for us even in our next life and our long-term existence for our soul. Only Shastra can tell what is good for our soul. So one must know Shastra at least to a basic level. And Bhagavad Gita is pretty deep Shastra. It's fairly deep, 700 verses of dense, compact knowledge. And that is why it is the most fundamental Shastra. All the Acharyas, of course, Srila Prabhupada has made Bhagavad Gita as the fundamental textbook of the entire Krishna consciousness movement. But not just that. Every Acharya, it is the most commented work in our Sanatana Dharma. Every Acharya from any Sampradaya has written commentary at least on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. May not be on the Upanishads, may not be on Vedanta Sutra. It's very hard to write a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. and definitely, and not on Srimad Bhagavatam either. So Bhagavad Gita is definitely a must know scripture, and that's why Srila Prabhupada put it in the Bhakti Shastri as well. Otherwise, there'll be just too many doubts, confusing and conflicting statements. We see that even in our Hare Krishna movement, you know, hey, but this verse, some people are very expert in, picking the verses out of convenience. No, this verse says this, therefore I'm right. This verse says this, so I am right. And it becomes very hard to analyze, because ultimately it is coming from Shastra. What to do if you want to fight someone? You say, hey, Arjuna was inspired to fight by Krishna, therefore I will fight. On the other hand, same Bhagavad Gita says ahimsa. So which one is right? Should we, you know, fight, or should we do ahimsa? How can you do fighting with ahimsa? You have to kill. So it becomes very challenging, very confusing, and therefore a very good understanding of Shastra is important. Otherwise, one will be unable to resolve and harmonize. One will think I'm taking Shastra like partially. I'm only accepting one part of Shastra at the cost of ignoring or not following some other part of Shastra. That's no good. Then you're not really understanding Shastra. So Shastra must be nicely understood under the proper guidance, and it tells us ultimately what is right, what is wrong. Therefore, the 24th verse says, Tasmat, again an important verse starting with Tasmat, Shastram Pramanam Te. So Shastra Praman. One must always use Shastra as Praman. If you are doing something and it is questionable, it is gray, of course, black and white as well. Shastra Praman. And Shastra Praman means conclusion from the Shastra, not just the plain out of context picking the words from Shastra. No. That is why Tatsmat Shastram Pramanam Te, that one must get the proper understanding from the Shastra. Praman means evidence or proof, but the deeper meaning of the use of Pramanam here is that by proper understanding of the Shastra, taking it within the context, not out of context, with proper interpretation. Karya, akarya, vyavasthitau. Vyavasthitau means to determine. Vyavastha karna. Vyavasthitau, what? Karya, akarya. What to do and what to avoid or what not to do. So everything must be very clear based on good understanding of Shastra. That is why Shastra is so important. It tells us, it gives us the guidance of what to do and what not to do. Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam. So, by knowing the Vidhan of Shastra, Karma Kartum Ihar Hasi. You should determine your next steps. This is what I am going to do. This is the path that I will choose. And like this, one will be uplifted. So this is the importance of understanding Shastra. Now, this is talking about Shastra, which tells us the knowledge of how to live in this world, to go from tamas to rajas to sattva and go beyond it to completely uplift ourselves to the param gatim. 2 times the word param gatim has been used. So the Shastra not just tells us to go to the highest material level, but go to the spiritual level as well. So Shastra tells us everything. You can say the material law books tell us how to live a good life. Yes, they may, but they will not tell how to go beyond that param gatim. That is what is the uniqueness of Shastra. And plus, Shastra also tells us many unique things about material life also. How to, for example, in Arjuna's case, how to fight. But Arjuna was not fighting with himsa. Arjuna was fighting with ahimsa. In his heart, he was following Krishna's instruction He was not fighting out of disgust or out of hatred for the opposite party. He was fighting for the pleasure of Krishna. So that is the correct understanding of Shastra that Arjuna had. So he was not fighting. So he was properly fighting and yet doing ahimsa. So all these things, for example, we learn from Shastra. There are so many situations of how Shastra teaches us. So of course, there are Vedas. The large part of the Vedas tell us about material life, but it also obviously definitely talks about the Param Gatim. Then the more direct works like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras, they are all about spiritual upliftment. And in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Mool Granth is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is an essence of all of the above. Essence and expansion, both. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the most important Shastra for Vaishnavas. So that brings us to the end of chapter 16. Are there any comments, questions? Okay, so we will pause here and we will start chapter 17 in the next video. So I'm going to stop the recording. Please don't leave. I'll start another recording and we will start chapter 17. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.